to our session. We're going to wait a few minutes for a bunch more people to come in because I see people are coming into the room. But welcome to this very interesting talk on NFTs and the metaverse.
Hey guys, nice to see you.
We'll introduce, I'll introduce myself and Vladimir as well, our speaker today. So we're just going to wait a couple more minutes as people are still coming in.
Sure.
Hello everybody, if you've just come in, welcome. We're about to start in a couple of minutes. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We may have more people joining. So please, for the audience, please invite your friends to join the session. We're going to be talking about NFTs and the metaverse with one of the very interesting leaders in this space. So it should be an amazing session. And I invite you to ask your friends to join using the link that you can find in our room. I see we have a bunch more people coming. So let me introduce myself. I am Lisa Loud. I'm your moderator today, and I'm very pleased to be here. My background is in both the big tech space as well as DeFi, crypto, and more recently NFTs. So my background is I've been the COO of Shapeshift and CMO of BitMEX, and more recently working with sports teams in Italy doing NFT projects. And I'm very delighted to introduce my speaker today. We have Vladimir Tomko, who is the founder and creator of Blockchain Cuties. Vladimir, would you like to say a couple of words to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi everyone, thanks for coming. As Lisa, is it Lisa, right?
Yes.
Yeah, as Lisa told you already that I'm the CEO of Blockchain Cuties Universe, and Blockchain Cuties is actually one of the first NFT games on the market and one of the 4 surviving ones. We started developing the NFT game when the hype was just starting back in late 2017, when everybody was doing ICOs. And the game was already released in April 2018. So we are like 3.5 years on the market. We basically did a lot of innovation in this field, even before the NFTs were a thing that they are becoming right now. And during our sort of journey, we did a lot of mistakes. We've tried a lot of hypotheses. Some of them worked, some of them didn't work. And right now we have a very peculiar and unique knowledge on the market, especially thanks to the fact that we are the world's first multi-blockchain game. So we mint NFTs on different chains, 5 of them at the moment, and the 6th is coming either this week or next week. And yeah, I'm here to share my personal and the company experience on the matter of NFTs, the metaverses, the hype that's been building around, and basically the state of the market as it is.
Amazing. Thank you, Vladimir. That sounds like an amazing project. I can't wait to hear more. For the audience, let me just point out a couple of things that you can do. You can raise your hand by clicking. You can see the emojis down there. You can express if you'd like to a reaction to what the speaker is saying. If you agree with something that Vladimir is saying, feel free to click the happy face, and there are several reactions that you can put up there that will help Vladimir to get some feedback on how you're receiving his words and whether it's hitting home for you. So and you can also raise your hand if you have questions. Click on the little speaker there if you'd like to speak, and I will notice that you have done that, and when it's time to ask the question, I'll be able to bring you up on stage to ask the question. So with that, if there are no questions to start with about how to use the platform, we're going to move right into the questions. So can you tell us a little bit more, Vladimir, about what you told us that Blockchain Cuties is across 5 blockchains, and you're adding some more. But what is the purpose of the game? What is it there for? What is the mission?
Well, mission, I think, is a strong word because the game always evolves and we're trying to constantly find a better market fit, trying new features. So the mission is to become sort of a place of people who are in crypto, who are into NFTs, to create a world, a universe, and allow them to engage with the game, engage with each other, make money by playing the game, find friends, and co-create the game with us. So we are building across like not across, but we're building the game together with the community. We are in constant chats and conversations with them. So they suggest different ideas. We try to implement them. We basically were one of the first people on the market that propagate the community-driven development. And this is what we're building. So
Wow.
the mission is to create a successful project that eventually will become like a metaverse on itself, but being a part of a bigger metaverses that are being built by bigger companies on the market, and to allow people to basically make money by playing the game, find friends, and to create something, to create their
Great.
favorite characters, to share it. Yeah.
Do you think are you the only NFT based game that is community driven, that is really a co-creation
No,
game?
definitely not. As we are like speaking about today, when there are dozens of NFT games being released or announced every day, we're definitely not the only people on the market that do that. And the whole community stuff in crypto is very, very important. So everything is built around the community, and the projects that are gaining the market fit, they are community driven one way or another. And this whole thing started like back in 2013, I believe. And it's a strong property of practically every successful project in crypto. So we're not the only one here, but because we chose a multi-blockchain approach, we are the only one that is experiencing sort of issues that other projects do not. For example, because when we launch a new project, we try to gain access to their audience, and some people are like very tribal in nature. For example, there are people who are Ethereum maximalists, and when we introduced Tron back in 2018, some people just hated Tron because of the way how Justin Sun portrayed him in the media. And we had sort of fights in community where people were just speaking bad things about blockchain of choice. And we decided to use it to sort of our advantage. So we decided to create a blockchain as a faction within the game. So each faction has their own setting. So Tron is sort of futuristic, Ethereum is modern, US, Europe based, Neo is mystical, Chinese, Japanese, like Asian, and EOS is fantasy driven and medieval. So, and we create events around those geographical locations based in our world and in different timelines. So it's not like fully implemented in the game, this tribal thing, but we're also working on a big expansion that is called Wars of Cutie Land, where people would have to choose a faction they fight for, and they would be able to basically allow their tribalism to be sort of an idea that they fight for. If they like Ethereum and they hate Tron, they will be able to attack Tron lands and take the lands from them.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So you're taking the tribalism, I like your word, that exists within blockchain, the loyalty, perhaps we could call it, and you're making it part of the game, so people will engage even further. I love that, rather than fighting it. If you can't fight them, join them, I guess, is the motto.
Yeah,
very cute.
Sort of.
That's
Thanks.
Great. So what are some of the challenges beyond the tribalism, perhaps beyond the blockchain factions? What are some of the challenges in NFT-based games right now?
There are actually many, and they tend to differ from year to year. So the most biggest challenge when we launched the game was the fact that the go-to-market strategy had to pivot basically in the first month when we launched the product, because we first thought that we would do user acquisition through Facebook, Twitter, and Google, like regular games do, and like ICO projects did back in 2017, but those ads were banned at the beginning of summer of 2018. Right. So we needed to find a way how to survive, how to get traffic. So we decided to take the multi-blockchain approach because we had a very potent technical team, and we decided to treat each blockchain as an app store that has their own audience, but they want a product that would sort of serve as a flagman. And first we went on EOS, and we didn't approach the EOS team directly. Back then it was pretty hard because EOS had like 21 sort of representatives that made a part of consensus, and each of them nourished their own community. So it was like, it wasn't decentralized, it was like centralized, but like in petty kingdoms way. So you had to approach every block producer and try to engage with their community, and we weren't good at that. With Tron, our third blockchain, we already knew that problem, and we approached Tron directly, and they helped us a lot. They drove some people and created this like notion of a multi-blockchain community where some people are against Tron, some are for Tron, and so on. Then the biggest issue for all NFT-based games, and I'm talking about like games which have utility, not just pictures and rarity, is the devaluation of assets over time. So the economy is the most important thing within each blockchain game, and majority of people who are sort of announcing that they are going to build a great blockchain game based on NFTs with governance and so on and so on, they actually, judging from what they write in white papers and on their websites, they don't understand the concept fully. So they will gain traction, momentum, they will attract capital, but there's going to be a lot of problems in terms of creating a sustainable economy. And if you want your project to like live for a long time, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, maybe 10 or 15, the most important concept that you should concentrate on is your in-game economy. And this is where we sort of failed 2 times, because we had 2 markets in the game. One is for NFTs, cuties themselves, and one is for items. Items in Blockchain Cuties Universe are not NFTs, they are server-side entities, but they transact through blockchain. So if you, for example, play on Neo and you find some items, if you have like Ethereum wallet attached, you can sell those items to people who play on Ethereum. And because items in regular games and specifically in RPGs are usually gainable by the time that you invest in a game, we took a similar approach. So we didn't make them a zero-sum game where you need to buy them. You're able to get them with money, with your time and with your wits. And of course, when that is happening, a lot of bots try to enter your domain, try to sort of create excessive value with zero time. And when these things get broken, you have like a lot of assets on the market. And people who do bots, they didn't care. They sell it for like pennies. And we had our item markets crashed 2 times, and we are the only game on the market that was able to recover from that. So Ethereum had a similar issue back in 2018, like late 2018, and they went off from the market. They are on the market right now, but like it's the second re-entry. They weren't on the market for almost 2 years. We managed to basically recover from that, but it took us 2 years. And we felt this pain of market collapsing, like, and it was really, really painful experience. It was real. So I know for sure that economy is very, very important. I also understand that despite the fact that NFTs are like images, videos right now, and people tend to value them on their own, it is a lot easier to sell NFTs when they don't have utility. So if you don't have anything created yet, you just announce things and you say that they're going to like be very expensive, people are going to want to buy those NFTs, people tend to believe you because there is like the proof of concept isn't there yet. But if you have a working economy with the utility, it's a lot harder to sell something, because people not only judge the NFTs by collectible value, how they look, but they also try to understand what value it brings them in the ecosystem. And if it does bring any value, it has their like weight coefficients, and people try to understand how much like dollars each coefficient costs. And then you have a situation where you have, like, for example, a pretty cool, very unique in terms of art NFT that is created by a master craftsmanship, and it doesn't sell a lot in the game, because they understand that they can get a more like shitty character that is drawn worse than this one, but has better utility and it's easier to get one. So like sort of as an issue or as an advice, you need to think of a funnel when creating an NFT game, where you sort of separate the collectible value from the utility, because utility will devour everything in the end.
Ah, that's very interesting. So for aspiring NFT creators, do you have any advice around around utility versus beauty? Would you say that people who want to create something that's artistic should make sure that there's no utility, or how would you phrase that?
They should create utility based on the scarcity of the elements they're selling. So there shouldn't be a situation where those are two separate lanes, and one is a lot better than the other one. They should be connected, and you should teach people who participate with the project to understand that thing that looks cool has the best utility, is the most valuable. If you try to break that, and there are a lot of like on the market situations where you try to get market fit and you experiment with a lot of things where you have to break that, especially if the market moves fast. And when that is happening, the discrepancy is being created and some of your assets will devalue it. So try to avoid that. And also additional thing, which is like sort of on the surface, but very few people think about that, is that the collectible status itself should also provide some sort of utility within the game. So for example, if you're buying a very beautiful asset that isn't like very good in terms of utility, make it sort of an unlockable NFTs in terms that it would unlock something in the game. It's not very good, like not very effective in some mechanic, but it only allows you to play that mechanic if you have this NFT. But that thing alone will also be weighted and the market will give it a price. So
right, makes sense. You have to think about it in the whole picture of what you're providing. In a couple of minutes, we're going to take questions from the audience. So please, if you have questions, prepare them and please put up your hand. We're going to just talk for a couple minutes more, but then we will take the questions. So I'd like to know how many questions there are, so I know how long to reserve for that. So Vladimir, what are the new market opportunities for the NFT-based gaming industry that are up and coming?
Well, right now we are in a hype stage. So a lot of crypto capital and venture capital are being poured into NFT related projects, GameFi, metaverses, and so on. So this is just a stage, and it's very it's a good idea to try to participate in that and take some capital to build a game, to build a product, because market moves in cycles, and majority of people are believing that the next bear cycle is pretty soon, basically upon us, maybe in March, maybe in January, nobody knows for sure. And when that happens, the hype goes down, and majority of the companies that are sort of okay and hyping a lot right now will just leave the market. Very few will survive. And the opportunity here is to get some money to try your ideas, to try some hypothesis that would either get market fit or will get away from the market, because this is how the market evolves. Majority of the ideas right now that are being like announced and sold, they won't receive a market fit. It's just how it works. But people need to try. So the ideas need to be tried out in battle, and they need to spend some money to burn them in order to understand if this is like for sure and we can use it and people understand the value, or it's a gimmick that is being hyped right now. So of course there are sort of safe paths when you try to replicate something that works in real world and try to create a value in virtual world. Those ideas usually work with either NFTs or any other type of assets that participate in economy. But those are usually not that marginal in terms of returns. So the upside of the market right now is extremely big. So there are billions of dollars flying in the GameFi space. And some people will be able to touch those, like Axie Infinity did, for example, and everybody's trying to basically mimic them, use their breeding mechanics and try to build on top of that. And some people will just create a regular, not very marginal business in this space, but they will build their own path. And as we all know, so when one path is chosen by everybody, there is very little place there. So new paths need to be created and discovered by smaller dexterous companies. So I think both paths are okay. People should try those, and the time is very, very good for it right now.
Right. So innovate, come up with original ideas, try things. Now is the time to do it. Who knows when this window will close, right?
Exactly.
So I'll take some questions if there are any. I don't see them, but honestly, this is my first time moderating. So if somebody's asking a question, I may need help from Ina to find them, but I don't see any questions. If there are some, please. Okay,
I think Diana wants to join.
One. Yes, great, thank you. Diana, I'm going to invite you as a speaker. Go ahead, Diana.
Hi, thank you for your speech. Yeah, I have a question. What do you think, what is the major role of NFTs in the gaming industry?
Okay, so that's an easy one. And Stevie also is wanted to say something. Okay, so the major role, let's approach this question from afar. So right now, the gaming industry and the movie industry, together with streaming services, basically are the only industries in the world that have an issue to them where the content that you buy or rent doesn't belong to you. So if you spend some time, I don't know, playing World of Warcraft, creating a lot of high-level characters with a lot of items, and then you decide that you want to basically leave World of Warcraft, you won't be able to sell your assets for real money because they don't belong to you. You signed the ELA that Blizzards own them. Same is with the music on Spotify, on Apple Music, and so on and so on. What NFTs creates here is that they create the equality that is present in all other industries. For example, if you buy an automobile, it is yours. You are able to resell it on a secondary market. So this is what NFTs bring to the space, to the gaming space. So you can monetize your time, you can store and accumulate value in the assets that you generate, that you improve while you play, and then you can flip them or exchange them. And what additionally they bring is, when you have this sort of standardized way of storing assets that actually belong to you, it creates the path to building metaverses with a lot of issues, but nonetheless. So you can bring your assets from one game to another if they're sort of using one protocol, and the liquidity of economy from one game can somehow translate to another one. And those are like real use cases that everybody understands. Then there are a lot of experimental things that people try to bring to gaming that basically may work or may not work. Of course, additional super hyped thing right now is GameFi and ability to basically participate in play to earn mechanics. They don't obligatory need to have NFTs in them, but usually they are tied with it. And the fact that blockchain asset, if it is designed in this way, can store some sort of value, some sort of fields, information of owner, the transaction history, it allows to create this particular non-fungible effect when each item, if it is like personal, belongs to you, can store your history. And among different items of the same type, this particular one has a value that is very important to you or to people who you know, but not important to anybody else. And thus it creates basically a derivative secondary markets and ability to market your goods within one or different games.
Great, thank you. We have time for another question, Stevie, in just a moment, but I just wanted to remind everybody that the opening of the art exhibition is today at 1 p.m. So after this, we will, at New York time, so we will have 5 artists and platforms displaying their artworks, and you can look at the art and buy it as well. But let's go to Stevie. Stevie, what is your question? Please go ahead.
Sure, thanks. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Vladimir, thank you for the, you answered actually a couple of parts of mine. I guess my last question, I was like, you know, we're in this, I work with a development agency. We're starting to build a bunch of stuff in the crypto space and digital identity space. We haven't really gone to NFTs, and it's just kind of perked my interest in the last like 3-4 months. But I'm not an active gamer. I'm not necessarily somebody that's collectible, that's going to go out and be like a collector. Because I kind of go back to that utility and the idea of like, you have utility in an NFT if you don't play a game. If you're not like playing to earn. Like, do you see a market, and like, what's your thoughts on like, for the person that wants to be involved in the space, doesn't want to just buy a pretty piece of art, like where do you see utility in like the secondary market? I guess, like, where do you see that role?
If we're not speaking about like art, music, and game assets, there is also a lot of utility here, especially in personal identity. For example, like your bank account at some point can be tied to your NFT. Your basically ID can be an NFT. Your social insurance can be an NFT. Your a lot of stuff that is connected specifically to you that right now, for example, people sell to ad agencies, like in Facebook, for example. They know a lot about you and they sell this information, and they're like privacy-based browsers that try to sort of stop that, at least at some level. So in the future, I see that your personal ad experiences on different products might be an NFT that you will be able to sell to ad agencies on like yourself and get some sort of attribution towards that in terms of revenue streams. I see that NFTs are not the end product that is going to be like present here in 10 years. I think it's going to evolve, and there are going to be derivative projects that are based on NFTs that are going to be more complex and richer in functionality than we have right now, but they're going to start with NFTs. So I think the whole decentralization thing is definitely not going anywhere, and the data, the centralized information that government, like agencies, third parties store about you at some point will be sort of like your passport. And it will be very deep in terms of the information and connections to apps, to what you do. And it will be like stored there. It will be tied to your personality, and you will be able to basically manage it, sell some points, some information, hide some information. So the privacy stuff, I think, is going to embrace NFTs pretty soon, because it's very, yeah.
We are
it's on the surface
for today. So
thank you.
Amazing insights. Thank you so much, Vladimir. Thank you for the good questions, Diana and Stevie. I invite you to join the next room. You can see on the schedule what is coming up next. We've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about NFTs and gaming and where we're going. all these things are things that I did not know before. So thank you so much, Vladimir, for sharing your insights with us. And we look forward to exploring blockchain cuties on whatever blockchain we like the best. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Goodbye.